In my mind, I see a line. And over that line, I see green fields and lovely flowers and beautiful white women with their arms stretched out to me over that line. But I can't seem to get there no how. I can't seem to get over that line. That was Harriet Tubman in the 1800s. And let me tell you something. The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity.
Hey there, and welcome to Mocha Girls Pit Stop TV, where women of color refuel on motivation and ignite their lives. I'm your host, Terri Lomax, and I am super excited about today's topic. We have a very special guest who's going to drop some knowledge and share some information that could really change your life. Global estimates published by the World Health Organization indicate that 1 in 3 women worldwide have experienced either physical and or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. Extremely disheartening, right? Today's guest, Linda Leu, is the executive director at Impact Bay Area, a nonprofit that teaches effective boundary setting, personal safety, and physical self-defense. Linda, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here.
You're so welcome. Linda, let's just dive right in, okay? Tell us why or what piqued your interest about personal safety and boundary setting.
Yeah, I think that it's something that a friend of mine encouraged me to do for about 8 years before I actually took the class. And I didn't fully realize until I took my first impact class that I had all kinds of things that had happened to me in my life where I didn't have the tools to set effective boundaries and protect myself physically. So for me, a lot of it is not just the physical self-defense if somebody were to attack me, but the little kind of emotional safety things where people just cross their boundaries and you don't know how or feel empowered to necessarily say no.
That's so interesting. Wow. And if you don't mind, Linda, can you just give like an example of one of those experiences where you were like, you know what, I wish I would have had tools that would have enabled me to kind of get this person away? Because I know I've had personal experiences as a woman. We know that we live in a world that is male dominated for the most part, as far as the industries that we're in, technology, personal safety, and all that good stuff. So can you kind of share like one of those instances that maybe made you think like, you know, I could probably use this impact class?
Yeah, I feel like I have a really silly example that I'll share with you, which is there was a summer where I was the bridesmaid in 3 weddings, and it was out of control. Like the number of dresses and teas and showers and gifts. It was not in my budget, and it kind of took over my life for the entire summer. And I just didn't have any way of saying to people, this is not really going to work out for me. So I just kind of went along with it and said yes. And I feel like there's so many things that we do in our lives going along with it because it's too hard to say no.
I love it. That's a great example, actually, because I feel like you kind of, I mean, it sounds like Impact Bay Area teaches not only, you know, the personal safety and the self-defense, but like you said, boundary setting, which we've kind of talked about offline as well. So let's just dive into victim shaming and kind of what that means and the language around that, because I feel like people really need to educate themselves on one, what questions to ask when something happens to a friend and how you can be supportive and not subliminally like send signs to the victim, basically saying like, hey, you could have prevented this is your fault. Let's talk about that, because I think that's really, really important.
I think it's really common when somebody comes to you with a problem for you to want to fix it for them, for you to want to solve them. And so it's really easy to kind of say, well, what if you didn't go running by yourself at night? Or what if you just, had said no, or why didn't you just do this? Why didn't you just do that? Why did you even put yourself in this situation? And we certainly do a lot of this kind of victim shaming with ourselves, right? I personally am very self-critical about my own decisions, and it's so often that I find myself victim shaming myself. And it's really, really important to try to keep in mind that if somebody does something to you or to one of your friends, like that person did something, that person is the perpetrator, and it is always their fault. Give like tools and choices for people to use to help defend themselves within those situations. It's just really important to remember that it's still your choice. And it's still their choice what they want to do in that situation. And it is always the fault of the perpetrator.
Very nice. Thank you so much for kind of diving into that for us. And I wanted to ask you another question. I know that you're very familiar with this topic, considering that you are the executive director at Impact Bay Area, so I'm sure you've heard tons of stories. Can you kind of talk about some of the, I want to say like the most common instances or areas where women are typically targeted? I know one thing I heard is that, sometimes we may be in our car, like, just doing something, minding our business, if we're by ourselves, and that, people kind of gravitate toward people who are by themselves in their car, not really paying attention. And I feel like that sounds a little victim blamey just right there. So help me out, Linda. Help me out, Linda.
I know this is a really fine line to walk because we do want to give people choices and tips. But at the same time, keeping in mind, so we'll just start with that as the framework.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that if someone attacks you, it's their fault and not yours.
Yes.
I think one of the really important things that we try to start all of our classes with is teaching about situational awareness and being aware of what's happening around you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Being aware of how you can get yourself to a more safe situation if you are in an unsafe situation.
Right.
So if you have those giant headphones and you're walking around with your noise canceling headphones bumping music, it doesn't give anybody the right to attack you, but you could also be putting yourself in a situation where you're not aware if somebody's approaching you, and you could maybe do something to try to stop them. I think the other really important thing I want to touch on here is intuition, and the fact that most women are socialized to be nice, right? So we're walking down the street, and maybe you see somebody who is sketchy looking, looks like they don't have your best interests at heart, but in your mind, because we've spent our whole lives being told to be friendly and nice and smile or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're not saying like, oh, I'm gonna cross the street, or I'm gonna do something to make him aware that I see him, and that I'm gonna do something about it. I'm not gonna allow you to attack me. Because we're just so like, I should give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to be nice. I'm just going to smile. So we just have a lot of socialization to fight against to allow us to do intuition. A lot of times your body and your brain are sending you signals that you might be in danger. But then we have all of this other societal stuff that's telling us, no, just be nice.
Exactly. That is so true. I cannot tell you how much I agree with that. Like, I've been on BART, and we know BART, you see a lot of sketchy people on BART, right? And I'll be there, and I want to be polite. And so I may see someone, and it's like, oh, I really want to move to another, train or move my seat, but I don't want to be rude, So I think we definitely have to sort of leave that behind us when we're in these settings and our body is sending us these signals. So I really appreciate you touching on that. Now, I have to say, before I took the class with you, there was I definitely was naive in a certain sense, and I think that I've definitely been in situations where I have not been aware of my surroundings, and I kind of thought, nothing's going to happen to me, no one will do this, but I've heard stories from countless women ever since really moving into the city, because I came from a rural area, and they talk about how someone will be, they'll be walking down the street and someone will grab them. And that petrifies me because in my mind, I feel like I know what I would do in that instance. But honestly, I know that, your fight or flight, when that adrenaline rush occurs, it's like you don't really know how you're going to respond. So can we kind of talk about a few scenarios and maybe some tips on how to respond to those scenarios?
So this is something that has happened to me walking down the street in the city, where someone just grabbed me, he grabbed my crotch. And this is before I had taken an impact class, and I totally stood there and did nothing. And it felt like to me it was like 5 full minutes that I was standing there. I'm sure it was much less than that. But I just and that experience totally negatively impacted my self-confidence because I just didn't think that I would ever be someone who just did nothing. So, but this is actually like a normal mammal thing that we do. Like if somebody startles you, you freeze. That's what you do. You gasp and you freeze. So in this situation, we practice a lot in our classes using your voice because we teach that most attacks are easily or deterred, not easily. I'm sorry, that back. Most attacks can be deterred by a single act of resistance, and a lot of times that is simply using your voice. Because attackers are not looking for somebody to get in a fight with, right?
Exactly.
Like if some dude on the street wanted to get in a fight, like why would he pick me?
Mm-hmm.
So using your voice and just like yelling no really loud is really important because it can deter your attacker, but also when you yell, you're forced to take a breath. And when you're breathing, that's when you can kind of work through your adrenaline freeze. So it's really common if you notice, like when you freeze, you kind of hold your breath.
Yeah.
Just forcing yourself to use your voice and breathe is really a great way to break out of that adrenaline freeze.
That's very good advice. And it's funny that you say that because I just thought of an instance. When did this happen? A few weeks ago, I was actually walking with a friend down the street. And one of my colleagues, actually, we were walking and these two guys were walking by us. Typically if you see two people on the sidewalk, you'll kind of move around. The weirdest thing happened, Linda, and I was just like, okay, so let me just tell you what happened first. So we were walking and the guy, one guy walked by and the other guy, he like grabbed my arms. And I was like, what just happened? It was so weird. And the thing is, like, we walked by and he like stopped and I kind of like stood back and he like grabbed my arms. And it was just this weird, like after it happened, we both, like my colleague and I looked at each other and we were like, first, that happened so fast. Like, what the hell just happened? One. And then I was like, why did he grab me? Like it was just weird. It threw me off. I didn't know what to do. Like you said, I did nothing because I froze. So I want to ask you, you just shared a little bit about your story, and that's devastating. Like, I don't know what I would do if I was on the street, with my headphones in and someone like grabbed my butt or grabbed my crotch. That is the ultimate violation. But in addition to that, like if I was if your friend was talking to you about this experience, what questions could a friend ask, or what could that conversation look like? A supportive conversation, and not one that is victim blaming. Like, what would that conversation look like?
I think it would definitely be different for everyone, but I think I would start with just like, are you okay? Like, what can I do for you? A lot of times what attackers do is or harassers, is they try to make the victim feel isolated. And we see this a lot with street harassment, where a group of guys will just be like yelling things at a woman, and everybody will kind of pretend like they don't know what's happening, and that just makes the person feel like way more isolated, and like they're alone, and they're the only one. And so doing things to be supportive or letting the person who experienced this know that like they're not alone, that you can offer them support. And if they want, more skills and tools, there are certainly, you can encourage your friends to take an impact class. But I think that, just making sure that we don't normalize the kind of harassment behavior just because it happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of street harassment, it's so interesting because, as a woman, I thought that it was common, like everyone knew, hey, typically if you're a woman and you're walking by yourself somewhere, someone's most likely going to say something to you. It's so funny. My husband and I, we'd walk down the street together, no problems. But every weekend when I go to a dance class in Oakland, I get on BART and I, make my way to the class. And I tell my husband almost every weekend, oh, let me tell you what happened today. Like there's always something, some kind of inappropriate statement. Someone yells across the street, someone yells out of their car, and it's so annoying, but it happens with so much regularity that I'm kind of numb to it and I'm used to it. But that really, ideally that shouldn't be happening. Like people shouldn't be screaming, inappropriate or sexual obscenities at you. Like I walked by a few weeks ago and this guy was like, yeah, you got a nice frame. And I'm like, okay, you're really weird right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you have any suggestions on how to respond to the verbal street harassment?
I think, I just want to add that, like, nobody is entitled to have an opinion on my body. Like, one, like, you're not entitled to share it. Like, I don't care what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've certainly also had many conversations with, like, very well-meaning men who are like, why don't you just take it as a compliment? Like, well, actually, don't take it as a compliment that somebody feels entitled to check me out and comment on my body parts.
Yes.
So, but I think, street harassment is something that happens so often, and with such varying degrees of severity, that I think that, we just want to give people tools and options to set verbal or physical boundaries. Certainly you can't go around physically defending yourself from everyone who harasses you on the street. You will never get anywhere ever. And who has time for that?
Exactly.
So, personally, a lot of times I ignore it. But I think it's just kind of listening to your intuition and knowing if it's something that might escalate and actually put you in physical danger. But certainly, like, you have the choice to respond to every person that talks to you and educate them about how to respectfully communicate with women. But that is a choice that you have, whether you want to just set a verbal boundary or if you want to set a physical boundary. Yeah,
that's so crazy. When people say, oh yeah, you should take it as a compliment. I kind of just wanted to walk down the street and mind my business, actually. So let's dive into the biggest advantages of a self-defense class or Impact Bay Area specifically. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what we teach is something we call empowerment self-defense. And what we really think is key to this is that we have people leave our classes feeling confident and more able to set boundaries. And the really interesting thing we hear from a lot of people who have taken an impact class is that they feel more comfortable setting verbal boundaries. So just telling people to leave them alone.
Right.
And statistically, people feel more confident saying no to people when they have the physical skills to back it up. Right? But interestingly, there's this thing called the paradigm of self-defense. No, sorry, paradox. I got the keyword wrong. Paradox of self-defense, which basically is that evidence shows women who have taken self-defense classes are far less likely to be attacked.
Wow.
And there are lots of people that say, like, oh, it's just because you carry yourself differently, confident. And maybe that's true. But part of it might also be like that you're more aware and that you're able to get yourself out of a situation or de-escalate a situation before it comes to that.
Exactly.
So while we certainly hear graduates of our classes who have fought off their attackers, we most often hear people saying things like, there were these men harassing me, and I turned, and I put my palms up, and I said no really assertively, and they left me alone. So I think that, having the self-defense skills doesn't mean that you need to run around beating everyone up or kicking your street harassers in the groin. It just kind of means that you have some practice and some choices that you can make in using some of these skills.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And can you talk a little bit about the specialties or the courses that people can find at Impact Bay Area, and maybe just a little bit about the cost and kind of how that process can get started if they want to sign up today?
For sure. So all of our classes are full force empowerment self-defense. So we have instructors who wear big padded suits, and we want you to practice hitting someone with all of your strength. This is a thing that can be really scary for people, and also really fun for people. So it's okay to be both. But it's really just based on the kind of experience that the woman who started Impact had, where she was a black belt martial artist, and when she was brutally attacked, she wasn't able to defend herself for a couple of reasons. One, she didn't have any practice fighting under adrenaline, and she didn't have any practice hitting full force. Because in a martial arts setting, you pull your punches, you don't hit your sparring partner as hard as you can, because they won't spar with you. But we have these specially trained, suited instructors who not only let you practice the skills on them full force, so you can experience your own power, but we also do a little bit of character work where they put you in real life scenarios, where you can practice how you would break through your adrenaline freeze, and you either de-escalate or defend yourself, as the case may be. So our basic course, our women's basics class, is a 24-hour class. It usually happens over the course of 2 weekends or like a long weekend. And that is the class where we basically teach every technique that we have, based on some science that tells us that it takes about 20 hours to pattern new skills and techniques into your own muscle memory.
Wow.
So that way, if you're in an adrenalized situation where you're being attacked, maybe your brain is not very much clear thinking, your body and your muscles may kind of still know. So sort of like the whole riding a bike thing. You get on the bike and your body just goes, right?
Exactly.
So that's our basic class. It's a women. That's our women's basics class. It is not a cheap class, but it is 24 hours long. Because we are a nonprofit, and we are extremely dedicated to making sure that everyone has the right to personal safety. We offer scholarships. In last year, 45% of the women who took our women's basics class got a scholarship. So we do a lot of fundraising for our scholarship fund. And we actually are really excited to say we just started a new Women of Color scholarship fund, just because we want to recognize that intersectionality is real, and women of color experience all kinds of multidimensional violence and are put into very different situations. There is a really strong need there. So we really encourage everyone who wants to take the class to just apply for a scholarship to take the class. Please don't be turned off by the cost.
That's incredible. That sounds
offer shorter
exciting.
classes, but that's the basic.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to attend this training. I'm definitely going to sign up for the 24-hour training.
Yay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'm so excited about that. Do you have any suggestions for newcomers? Because I feel like some women, I know I've had conversations with women in my network, and they're a bit nervous and intimidated about attending a course like this or a session. So any advice for newcomers?
Just bring your inner badass. Impact is not a martial art, so it's designed for women's bodies and all bodies really. That so you don't have to be like an MMA fighter or an ultra marathoner. It's not really intended to be a martial art. It's intended to give you tools that everyone can use to keep themselves safe. So please don't be discouraged. Feel like you need to work out or get in shape to take our class. It's really intended for everyone.
Awesome. In closing, if you can just share 3 tips for women who are watching this video as it relates to self-defense or just, personal safety and boundaries, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I think that the first thing I would say is try to be aware. Awareness of your situation. When you enter a new environment, make sure you know how to get somewhere safe if you feel unsafe. Or just have a plan in your mind for like what you would do if something would happen. And I'm not suggesting we walk around being paranoid that anything could happen at any time. But just taking a moment, think through like what would I do? What would I do? The second one, really big one, is to listen to your intuition. Try to drown out those voices that are telling you for no reason that you just be nice, that you need to be accommodating to people that are threatening you. Just listen to your intuition, because our bodies and our minds are telling us a lot of things. We are very wise. The third thing that I would say is practice. And this might sound weird because maybe a lot of people that are listening and watching have not taken a class. But everyone knows how to say no. And it gets easier when you practice. And so if you have spent your whole life never saying no to anybody, like just practice. The next someone asks you for something, just say no. You can always like go back and say yes later if you want.
Right.
I mean, just like you want a glass of water. No thanks. Just say no.
Yes, I love it. I love it. That's so true, right? Because if you're not used to saying it, how likely are you going to be able to say it in the moment when you really want to, right? Linda, can you just tell us where we can find more information about Impact Bay Area?
Yeah, impactbayarea.org is our website. Please check it out. It has information about all of our classes. We do corporate classes. We teach a lot of team classes, which is super awesome. You can find out more on our website, and also you can apply for a scholarship to take a class on our website, impactbayarea.org.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate you taking the time to share this knowledge with us. And I will be seeing you soon as I'll be signing up for the 24-hour course. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey love, thanks so much for watching. I hope you were able to take at least one gem away from today's interview. And sharing is caring. Feel free to forward this interview to a woman in your life who will benefit from the message. And don't forget to subscribe to the Mocha Girls Pit Stop blog to find more empowering content for Black women. I hope to see you in our community.